Helps if we turn the power on. Okay, good evening, anybody's watching. Please say hello. What I'm going to do tonight is carry on with some more of this particular practice piece that I'm working on, which is a locomotive on hardboard. I started it yesterday, and it was mainly to practice with a new tool that I've got, which is the one I've got in my hand at the moment, and learn how the tool works, because each tool has different characteristics working with different wood, and this is new to me, so I'm just going to keep trying it out and do some more of this. Yeah, okay, now this area here, I'm just about to do, is about the same colour as the rest of this locomotive, but it's got a lot of lines across its corrugated. So what I want to try and do is bring the colour down to a similar sort of colour, but slightly lighter, and then try and add in some of the corrugated lines. This is an area of wood that's not taking the colour very well. Don't want to particularly heat up the tool anymore, just have to turn the temperature up a little bit, because it will tend to easily burn. By burning I mean going dark really quickly. And that's uncontrolled and because it's uncontrolled it gets too dark too quickly, know what you want, and then it's really difficult to recover from that. Erasing is possible, but will show up as having been done on this type of wood that I've got here, which is hardboard. I'm using this as a practice piece. I normally prefer to do this on a lighter coloured wood like birch, something like birch plywood. But you can do this on darker woods. It just makes the range of colouring that you have available a lot less. Okay, this is going blotchy, which is not really what I was after. This section of the locomotive is corrugated, or has a corrugated effect, like small panels. So what I've done is turn this particular tool over because it has a very fine edge on it, but it's not particularly sharp, so it's acting a bit like a knife but not actually digging into the wood like a hot knife would do so. Okay. Now this panel here is really a grill. I'm just trying to decide the best way to approach doing this. I think what I'll do is start by making it a light shade, and then maybe get the knife out and draw lots and lots and lots of lines. Maybe, we'll see. feel free to say hello in the chat, ask any questions that you may have about pyrography. I'm not particularly an expert, this is just something I'm learning, but I will try and answer any questions that I can. Okay. Let's see if I can give this some sort of representation of what it is that I'm looking at as a reference image. These here are extremely fine lines. I'm getting off with this tool, which is something I wasn't expecting when I got it, but it's proving to be very interesting. Could be quite useful for animal fur or hair because of the very fine edge I'm getting here without it actually being a knife. trying to do here is represent what is effectively a very fine air grill on the side of this locomotive, and it's kind of like a very fine mesh through which you can see the air intakes. So what I'm trying to do here is basically create a very fine mesh look in quite dark wood, and then what I'm going to do is colour the whole area over again with a dark colour, which hopefully then should make it look like a mesh with the openings behind it. What I'm doing here really is just a practice piece. It's a new tool that I've got, and I'm just learning a little bit about how this particular tool, which is called a flat shader, works. And I see William is hosting me. Thank you, William. You're welcome to say hello as well if you like. And have you been streaming tonight, William? Unfortunately, in some ways, pyrography is a relatively slow art form if it's done with sort of a fine art in mind, because what you're doing is building up colour slowly over layer upon layer upon layer, and of course, unfortunately, that means you don't see a lot of change as you go along because of that, but you do get a lot more of a finer grade of picture that way. You get very quick results if you turn the heat up and just work with pure black and white, but that's a completely different style of pyrography, which is not one that I am particularly fond of myself, because that's different people have different views. Feel free to ask any questions if you wish in chat. I'm a relatively beginner at doing this, but I will try and answer any questions if anybody has any. Trying out different techniques with this pen as well. Mentioned before, it's a new pen to me. I've only had it relatively recently, so I don't actually know what I can use it for, what different effects it can give me. Things like I've just learnt this weekend, like using it the way I was just then with the fine edge, which gives me quite a very, very fine point, is something that I wasn't expecting to be able to do, and that is something which is likely to be very useful for animal fur or hair because of that, or even just very fine outlining. But normally I'd use something like a knife blade for that, and the problem with the knife blade edge is it actually cuts into the wood, which is not something that you necessarily want to happen. Now what I'm doing now is going to darken this around, and hopefully what I've got then is this will look like a grill behind a mesh, or at least a similar enough representation for this purpose here. I do need to get it quite dark. Now there are different techniques for getting it dark. I can either turn the temperature up, and I may do that a little bit here, but that, if you're not careful, leads to not having much control, because if it burns the wood too fast, then it just gets dark and it's too late to add any shading in there. The other technique is to just slow down. If I slow down and hold this in one place, just like any sort of iron or anything else, it will actually fairly quickly darken the wood, and that in itself is quite useful because I can slow down. It doesn't then get dark as quickly as if I hold it in one place, but it still takes a little while to build up the layers. Or the third one is just to keep going over and over and over. Now that's best done in small areas at once, because the wood actually does conduct the heat away from the tip, and it cools it down quite quickly. I tend to prefer doing lots of layers, even though that takes a lot longer, because it just does give me a lot more control over it, and I can actually stop short of burning it a lot easier. Although sometimes with wood that doesn't give out a lot of sap, and hardwood is one of those, and it's the sap which actually is changing colour, that does sometimes be a bit frustrating, even for me. I'm going to turn the temperature up a little bit and see how we. This doesn't seem to be doing too bad. What I want to do is make these grooves really quite dark, almost black, if I can get that far down in colour. It may turn out it was a waste of time doing the grooves, but it was one of the effects of the darkening process is to actually smooth the wood out. I still got some texture there, so that might still give the effect that I'm after. You have to like the smell of wood doing this as well. Or the smell of wood burning even. Okay. May have to change what I'm doing shortly. This pen is heating up now, and if I carry on for too much longer it's going to become uncomfortable to use the pen. But they're going black quite nicely. Maintaining some of the striped texture, so they are still looking a little bit like the grill that I was intending it to try and represent. Not quite going as dark as I would like them to do, but we may go over them again. See if I can darken it down a little bit.